Your birth is going to go how it's going to go. And then it kind of got even worse. Panadol was a waste of my time. Picture this. His head wants to come out, but he can't get past this one. Like bending over and like squeezing beautiful, hectic, crazy. Oh. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very exciting day because we are going to finally sit down and talk about labour. I have sat down and written up a timeline of what I remember / what Jessie remembers. I have notes here in the same book I wrote all my last notes in. I just really wanted to give you quite a true account of how it all went down. Okay, so I figured a really good place to start was with our birth plan. Birth plan really is kind of unnecessary because your birth is going to go how it's going to go. Try to not have any preferences, meaning don't aim that you're not going to do this or you are going to do this, because at the end of the day your body does what it does and you just have to trust it. Your body knows what it's doing so much more than what your mind could ever know what it's doing, and your baby knows what it's doing. So you have to just trust the process and whatever that looks like for you as an individual. Okay? My birth plan was to go as natural as possible for as long as possible. So nothing was ruled out. I wasn't like, no, don't want the epidural. No, don't want a cesarean. I was like, look, if either of those things have to come into play, I'll do that. I wanted my salt lamp, I wanted the diffuser going, I wanted little fake tea tree lights, I wanted it to be a really warmly lit, beautiful, safe environment. Oh, I should say, I wanted to give birth in hospital. And I wanted to have a water birth in hospital. But I never had any preconceived ideas pre-pregnancy. And when you get pregnant, people will automatically go, so what kind of birth do you want to have? And you're like, I don't know. Unless you do know, but I wasn't that kind of person at all. So we ended up going into labour 39 weeks and 3 days. I woke up at 5 a.m. on January 19th. I had to get out of bed, I was too sore, I was contracting, but not enough to be super worried. Jessie came out a couple hours later and I just said, I'm fine, I'm just quite sore, I'm just quite achy. At around 10 a.m. we went for a curb walk, and at this stage of the end of pregnancy, you're like, any sign is a good sign. Any sign is a sign that your body is getting you there. And so I was like, let's just try and keep the momentum going, and let's just go for a walk. When I came back, I went toilet, and Jessie was about to, I don't know if you guys can see in here, but like the what are they called? Jessie told me this. Scotia. Jessie redid the whole ceiling in here because there was a hole, there was a drip, so he was like, oh, we've got to get that sorted before the baby comes. So just as he was leaving to go buy it, I just gone toilet and I wiped, and I had mucousy red stuff on the tissue. Sorry guys, I swear this one's not going to be as gross as the postpartum one, so for anyone else who's watching this and they're like scarred from the other one, this isn't as gross as that, sort of. And I ran out to him with the toilet paper and I was like, oh my god, something's happening, my mucus plug is coming away. Because it wasn't much on the tissue, I wasn't too worried. But basically you have this thing called a mucus plug, and that's what plugs your cervix so that nothing can get up into that region where the baby actually is. I was timing my contractions by this stage and they were still 10 minutes apart. It just felt like a achy period cramp, but they were painful enough that I couldn't sleep. By 5 p.m. they were finally getting worse. I had been texting my sister-in-law. I read back through our messages last night. And I was saying, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm never actually going to go into labour. I feel like my body just isn't going to work properly and I'm going to be pregnant forever. And then obviously I went into labour that night. And my midwife said to me, just continue doing what you're doing. By this time at 5 p.m. they were 8 minutes apart. Jessie actually was meant to go to a basketball game that evening with one of our friends, and I said to him, well, do you want to go? And he said yeah. And I said, okay, well look, if it's not happening and you don't go, I'll feel really shit that I didn't let you go. And if it is happening, what's the worst that could happen? You can just Uber home, it will be like half an hour, like it's fine, I'm sure it will be fine. Spoken like someone who's never had a baby before. Jesse then went out and he was gone from probably like 6 till 9 p.m. And by the time he finally got home, I was really beginning to get sore. Still just felt like a dull period cramp, but they were a lot stronger. By the stage they would happen and I would go like, oh, and I just couldn't sit still and I had to move. So by 10 p.m. they were 5 to 6 minutes apart. So yeah, it escalated quite quickly from this stage. By about 10:30, 11ish, we were thinking that they were about 5 minutes apart, quite steadily. We called my midwife and we just said like, hey, this is what's happening, this is how the day has been progressing. And she said, okay, cool, I'll come over and check you at home. So she came over and she did a physical check, felt if my cervix was dilated. And she confirmed that I was 1 centimeter dilated. You are in labor. Your baby's going to be here tomorrow. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I had a contraction in front of her and she said to me, you're doing really well, but you're actually wasting way too much energy. Your contractions aren't very strong yet. You need to try and focus on something else and just put on a movie and have some Panadol. Panadol? Like, Panadol was a waste of my time. But that was really disheartening. I was really gutted to hear that because I was really sore. It was really hard and I had been doing my yoga breathing, which is belly breathing, where you breathe down to your belly so that your contraction has more air. Oh god. By this stage it was probably around midnight and Jesse said to me, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. So he went to bed and I put on Wreck-It Ralph 2. I was trying to focus on a movie and not focus on the pain. I made it all of 20 minutes on the couch before I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, by this stage I was like bending over and like squeezing my cushion. I can show you. Squeezing my cushion on the couch and I was like so sore. And then, P.S. if you saw the back of that pillow, they're Jesse's. And I don't know where he got them from. They're the ugliest things I've ever seen. I need to change it up. I need to get in the shower. And my sister-in-law had actually done hypnobirthing with her birth. So if you haven't watched any of my other videos, my sister-in-law had a baby 9 months before me. So honestly, it's like I looked at Eli when he was a week old and went and made Wolf. She sent me her hypnobirthing tracks. I couldn't even tell you what it's about now, but I was listening to one of those on repeat. It was just like a frog on the bottom of this shower. My hair was just like probably a middle parting down the back of my head and it all just matted to the front of my head. And I was just lying there and I had the water on as hot as I could bear. Lots of people do say that when they're in labor they contract and then they stop and in the middle they're like, cool, I could do whatever and I feel completely normal. That wasn't me. I felt very consistently in pain. I was at the bottom of the shower for probably 45 minutes to an hour before I was like, okay, again, I've got to change it up. Like, I'm getting too restless. This is too sore. I can't deal with it. So I decided to put the bath on. Meanwhile, standing outside of the shower waiting for the bath to actually run and fill, I couldn't handle not being in the water. So I had the bath running and I was in the shower. Imagine this is the bath and this is me lying, because this is all you can do when you're that pregnant. You can't lie on your back or like lie on your front or anything. So I'm lying on my side and I have my arms over the side and I'm hanging and I'm contracting and I go, you know. I was really, really sore. I was beginning to yell out, like, ah, or I even started to yell, help me. And by this stage, I think it was 1:30. So Jesse, he had blue tack in his ears and he came to the bathroom. And he was like, oh, I heard you. Are you okay? Like, what can I do? And I was just kind of beside myself by this stage. And I was just like, oh my God, help me, help me. And when the contractions would come, I would panic, but then also I knew I had to overcome it, and so I would get like this burst of resilience, and I would be like, I can do this, it's okay, I can do this. And then I would flick back into, oh my God, help me, please save me. And then the contraction would end, and then I would look at Jesse and I'd be like, I'm so sorry that I said that, it's really unfair. And then it kind of got even worse. I started to say to him, like, kill me. Please kill me, please don't make me do this. Jesse would say, you're doing amazing, you're doing so well. Instead of me hanging over the side of the bath. He was physically holding me, and I would just squeeze him and dig my nails into him as tight as I could, and then I would just fall once the contraction had died down. I think it was probably about 2 a.m. and then this is when my contractions changed. The contraction would come, but then my body did that involuntary push. We've all pooed here in life, we're all human, and you know that feeling where you just like your body takes over and your body just pushes down, like it goes like, ugh. That started to happen to me. So I was still in the bath, you know, trying to survive, and then all of a sudden I felt that feeling and I was like, whoa, what's that? And then that happened a couple more times, and I said to GC, I think I'm pushing. I think my body started to push. And he was like, shit, okay, should we call Sue, my midwife? And I said, yeah, call her, let's call her. Meanwhile, it had only been 3 hours by this point since we'd last seen her, and she was very much expecting that it would take 12 hours like she'd said previously. So we called her and she was like, okay, you know, like, how's it going? And GC goes, she's actually started to push. And Sue's voice just like changed, and she was like, okay, cool, meet you at the hospital at 3. Get yourselves together, and we'll see you there. My contractions were like 2 to 4 minutes apart by this stage. GC had to shove his fingers into the pressure points of my back, but GC had to run around and grab the last essentials for the hospital bag. And I so vividly remember standing at the edge of my couch and just screaming that he had to get there to me, and he had to drop whatever he was doing and get there. And I just started to physically like convulse from the pain, because it was just me, like GC's fingers weren't there for me to focus on. And I just was like, you know when you watch a movie and like people turn into a zombie and they go like that was me. Picture this, it's pitch black. We live on a hill, kind of like a valley, so noise travels really far. And I had a contraction right before we got into the car, and I was like, shit, it's happening. GC goes, it's okay, it's fine, don't worry. And I'm so freaked out that people can hear me and I'm gonna wake people up. I don't know why I even cared. So once we got into the car, we had to drive 15 minutes to get to the hospital. I think that took us about 35 minutes to get there, because with every single contraction, I said to GC he had to pull over, because I just had to grab his hand. It's so funny now, but it really wasn't at the time. So we got there, 3:30 a.m. and we called my midwife, and so she came out and they bring you a wheelchair. And when you've got a baby's head right in your groin, you don't want to sit. So basically, as soon as we got in there, I said, I want an epidural. I don't even think we brought the bag in that had like the light, the diffuser, all that stuff. Everything was happening so fast. She again did a physical check inside, and she said, whoa, you're 7 centimeters already, you're way past getting the epidural. Would you like the gas? 100% I want the gas. And it's funny because GC actually said to me, Sue and I actually were getting so annoyed with you. We would have to say, Chloe, remember, take the gas, breathe in, and we'd have to put it in your mouth, and you just wouldn't. And he said it was just crazy because your brain was just so out of it. You was in so much pain that you actually couldn't physically think to do it. It took about 45 minutes for the bath to fill. The hospital beds are quite high, so I was actually leaning on it and swaying from side to side. GC's behind me and he's pushing on my lower back still. I remember looking down and seeing this big, thick glug going down my leg, and I remember just like really out of it saying, whoa, well, I guess that is my mucus plug. My midwife actually had said to me when she checked me to see how dilated I was that she couldn't feel my waters anymore, and she wondered if my waters had broke. I said, I don't know, I've been in the water, in the shower and the bath for hours. I couldn't even tell you. Eventually, I got into the pool, kind of like sumo squat in the pool trying to push, or GC was holding me behind. He wasn't in the pool, but he was like holding me under my arms, and I was like this, and I was like pushing off the other side of the pool, trying to push the baby out with every contraction. I think I pushed like that for maybe 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, and my midwife said to me, "You're not pushing properly. You're not pushing properly." And she was really right. Like, I was watching the clock. I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to go home. I wanted to go to bed. I was honestly counting down the minutes. She was trying to say to me, like, "You're going to meet your baby so soon." And I honestly was like, "Lady, I don't care. I don't want to meet my baby. I don't care about any of this. Slice me open and let me go home. Like, I don't even care." Like, I was so internally in my head, like, checking out, which was so bad. I remember having a contraction and looking down and just seeing this of just fluid oozing out into the water. I don't even know what color it was. I don't even know what it was. My midwife said to me, "Oh, maybe that was your waters." We still don't know to this day when my waters broke. So she said to me, "We're gonna have to get you out of the pool and you need to get out of the warm water and start pushing properly." And she knew I didn't want to get out of the pool, which is why she said that to me. And I was like, "No, buckle up, I'm doing it." I don't know if you've seen my postpartum highlight story on Instagram. I had broken capillaries across my entire body, burst blood capillary in my eye. So I was pushing with all my might. She did another physical check of me, and she said that part of my cervix was still slightly in the way, and she said, "I'm gonna have to push your cervix away in your next contraction." I begged her not to do this, like sobbing, begging, like, "Please don't do this." And she was like, "I have to. His head wants to come out, but he can't get past this one point. I have to push it away." The pain of that was just... So then by this stage, the water was beginning to change into a really murky brown-green, and Sue was really aware of that, and so she went and quickly go get a second opinion. So she went to go grab someone. And of course, I contracted, and then I felt the burning ring of fire as his head popped out. "So, get back in here!" And so it's just me and Jessie in this room. All I remember is this random chick was there. I just grabbed her hand, I looked at her, and then I pushed as Sue jostled his shoulders and body out. And I have never seen that chick again. I have no idea where she went. She just poof, she was gone. But thank you to whoever you are, because you got me through that final bit. Sue grabbed him and passed him up to us. I sobbed, but no physical tears. It was just shock sobbing and like looking down at this perfect, slimy, beautiful thing, and whoa. And I looked and I saw he was a boy, and I weakly said, like, "Whoa, he's a boy. Jess, he's a boy." And you know, Jessie was still right here behind me. Jessie actually told me afterwards that he was crying the whole time I was contracting in the pool, because it was just the most horrible thing for him to watch.
It's quite horrible to experience too, actually.
But yeah, bless him, he was just the best. He was so amazing in labour. Wolf was born at 5:07 a.m. so I hadn't slept for 24 hours. I honestly can't tell you a lot of what happened after that. I don't really know how long after, but my midwife said to me, "You're going to have to push your placenta out now." And I said to her, "No, please, I don't want to do it." And she said, "It will be nothing compared to this." And she was right, it was nothing, it just came out. I remember being up on the bed afterwards and Sue checking me for tearing, and that very much hurt. A lot of people I had heard said that it didn't hurt because you're so in love and you're feeling all of the feels, but no, I definitely felt it. It's all very personal, your experience. I'm just telling you mine. And by no means am I trying to scare you. It was the most bonding, beautiful, hectic, crazy, emotional experience of my life. Like, going through that with Jessie was just the best. Whatever support person you have there with you, you'll know that it really is just the best experience ever, and literally the worst experience ever for me. Natural birth was amazing, but it was also extremely hectic. we made it to the end, guys, and if you made it to the end of this video, thank you. Make sure to comment below if you have any questions around it or if you just enjoyed. And I hope I didn't put any of you off having your own babies. I promise you it will be the best thing you ever do in your life, but also could be traumatic, but that's fine. But yeah, give this video a like because it really supports my channel. Please make sure to subscribe because it also really supports my channel. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Bye.